As you get more and more familiar with Illustrator, your artwork will grow in complexity. And in order to wrangle in that complexity, you're going to rely on layers. So let's take a look at how we can add layers and delete layers in this particular lesson. So I'm going to create a brand new file. And mine is simply going to be a regular old letter document. And I'm going to do the old landscape mode. Feel free to do whatever you want because we're just talking about layers, so any orientation is fine for this. Even if you have a document open, that's fine too. Alright, so here we have our layers panel. I'm going to click on it, and as usual when I'm demonstrating, I'll just tear it off. Alright, so by default we always have one layer called layer 1. And what we can do to add a layer is to click on this icon right here called Create New Layer. And the new layer appears above the currently selected layer. And that's pretty important to remember because instead of you creating layers and then clicking and dragging to rearrange them, you can strategically place them where you need them. So I'm going to click here a couple more times. Now let's say I want to add a new layer between layer 4 and 5. I'll click on layer 4. I'll click my Create New Layer icon, and now the new layer, which is layer 9, now lives in between these two. You'll notice that it doesn't renumber these, so you can name them yourself by simply double-clicking on the name of the layer and give it the name you want. You'll also notice that we have these little colors here. These colors really don't mean much. All they do is help you to organize your elements, and you can change the color at any time. Now I highly suggest that you change the color based on your own preferences. For example, if you like to do natural scenes like beaches or the wilderness or woods or whatever, come up with a scheme so that you always know at a glance what's on what layer. So when you have grass and leaves and that kind of thing, try to use green, and blues for skies or water or that kind of thing. And you can just go ahead and create a brand new layer like so. Let me go ahead and make a new layer on top of layer 1. And I can double click on it and I can change the color right here. So all you do is click on this little dialog here or click on the swatch and then you can change the color you want. So I'll go ahead and make this blue and OK. And now we can have our layers that belong to the sky all together. And you can click and drag to move them where you want them to go. Now it's important to follow this black line very carefully because if you're not careful, you'll actually put the layer inside of another layer. So if I let go right here where it's all blue, I can accidentally put things inside of there. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm following this black solid line across and then let go of the mouse. Now that we talked about how to add a layer, let's talk about how to duplicate a layer. So as you can see here, we have this icon, and I'm going to grab layer 1. And I'm going to click and drag it on top of the Create New Layer icon until I see the plus symbol. And now I have layer 1 and a layer 1 copy. Now why would you want to duplicate a layer? Well, let's say you created an amazing cloud on one layer and you're really happy with that cloud and you really don't want to draw it again. Well, duplicate it a couple times, grab your tools here, manipulate that cloud, stretch it, move some of the points around, and you have a brand new cloud. No one needs to know, and I won't tell anybody. Okay, now let's go ahead and delete some layers. I can do this in two ways. I can grab a layer and drag it to the garbage can, and it's gone. Or I can click on a layer name and then click on the garbage can, and it's gone. So I'm going to get rid of all the layers, and I have to have one by default, as you see here. I can no longer click and delete any more layers. So that is how you can add layers, rearrange them, change the colors of those layers, duplicate them, and delete them.